Hi, I'm Construction Gamer, and this is the UK Northern Powerhouse on Transport Fever 2. This is going to be episode number 17 in the series, and in this episode we're going to take a crack at doing the Norton Bridge junction, which is just north of Stafford. It's quite a complex junction, so it's going to be quite fun to try and get that built within the scale. We're currently sat here at the Leeds Junction East approach. This is what it's looking like now. I've done a little bit of, well, you can call it detailing, put some trees and done a bit of paint to make it look a bit more interesting. But yeah, not a lot going on here at the minute. There's not a huge amount of services going into Leeds, but I'm hoping that at some stage this will be a hotbed of activity for passenger services coming in from across the Pennines and further south. So yeah, this is going to be quite interesting once this is all up and running, and I hope it works properly. I still haven't connected it up as it should be. I've just got the tracks kind of coming in, apart from this one here which comes down to Wakefield. Is that? Yeah. So yeah, I've got those services in place. We take a look at the services we do have, and we take a look at the balances. No, that's buses. They're all in the red. Yeah, so the East Coast Main Line making us £8 million, which isn't too bad. The Grantham Swineshead is still bedding in. I haven't played this game very much since I built Leeds, actually. Whitby Darlington is almost in credit now in the pluses, so yeah, all in all we're not doing too bad. I think if we look at the money that we're actually making, you can see the railroad, it's bringing us around £11 million per quarter, that is, rather. And even with all the loss making buses that I'm running, these shuttle buses, we're still making a bit of profit off the road as well, and the water. Not a huge deal of money, but that is, it's kind of, with the new mechanic that we have in the game, it's sort of a service that I've got to keep in place. So I was thinking about the freight service that I have, which currently supplies St Helens, Liverpool and Manchester with fuel, but it's not hugely profit making. I mean, it makes a little bit of profit, but not a massive amount. But what it is doing is it's driving up growth, so it's got like 60%. So if I was all of a sudden just to cancel the fuel supply, we would lose potentially 60% of our population. It'd start to decline. So even though it's not a hugely profit making service, it still serves a purpose for the rest of the game in order to drive passenger numbers. I mean, we can, as we develop the map and develop the railways, we can possibly start to think about winding down that freight route, but at the minute it is serving a purpose. Now I think in this I did have stone. I think I've deleted it in the map that's available on the Steam Workshop of this. I think I did stone, but I've deleted it just to decrease some of the towns that I was working with on this map. So this area here, it's going to be about here. What it does is basically you've got the main core West Coast Main Line, which comes down from Crewe and it comes into Stafford, and then you've got your Stoke-on-Trent, Stone tracks which come in, and up until 2016 they crossed on a flat junction, so you had a conflict there. Or if you had fast express services conflicting with slower services. So in 2014 they started construction on a junction to alleviate that, and that's what we're going to do in this episode. Is it going to let us delete this road without complaining too much? Yeah, it doesn't really serve much of a purpose, so get rid of that. We need, actually looking at this, actually it's relatively flat. I think we can work with it. I was just looking at Stafford, I placed it a bit too far south. If you remember the Darlington build, I built a straight through track because that's what Darlington is, and Stafford obviously is a straight through as well, so I might have to build it a bit further north. So I think if we look at building Stafford here, let's have a look at a building which is 240 metres long. Is that going to give us enough track to back off. If I do a bit of a curved track, it will give us enough. There will be enough space to back off and then come back around. But yeah, we'll say that we're starting it from here. I'm going to start with not catenary on. We are going to turn that off for now, and we're just going to start with slow speed track. I mean, yeah, we're only in 1965 still because I have paused the game, the years of the game, just to kind of, so we're not rushing through, while I am quite eager to get into the 1990s now with the last 158s and things like that being released. But yeah, just want to make sure we're in the right direction, and we're not. We're learning the mistakes that I've made on previous builds. Right, so the West Coast, core West Coast main line comes down here and then curves in a bit, so we can actually just put in a little bit of track there. Yeah, we are actually on a hill and we're building roads there, aren't we? Oh yeah, you can build tracks with the new update. You can build tracks curved from the get-go rather than having to do straight ones, although I don't know how that, it doesn't work now. You've got to have a little spur coming off, so we'll put that in there to there, and then it's going to have to be a curved track. Where is Crewe? Crewe is about there, and we'll keep it on the flat. Let's have a look how bad that is. That's okay. And that's, according to my diagram, is the up slow. Is it? Must be. That doesn't seem right to me. Remembering up is anything that's facing London as opposed, which is completely counterintuitive, because you'd think that up was anything that's heading north, but actually an up track is anything heading south. So I'm just looking at my diagram, and it is indeed the up slow. Down slow. Yeah, that sounds a bit more accurate. Right, so this is your down slow coming away from London. Right, I mean, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't make any difference at all really. I just like to know, because we are, unlike the West Coast series which I did, we are now actually working on the correct side of the track. Because if you know the West Coast series, if you watched that, actually we do want to put high speed tracks on, then I was working on the wrong side at the time. Yeah, we need to have high speed tracks on just so we know we've got the correct speed. And basically what we've got is that will be the up slow, this will be the down fast, and this will be the up fast, like so. Now what we want to do is, above that we need some sort of junctions, maybe a little bit higher. That seems a bit too high, but hopefully we do have concrete bridges now. I really would have thought that would have been high enough, maybe just half, pressing shift. Yeah, so no, a bit close to the track, because it is just literally, it's not like a big huge junction. Right, so yeah, I think we'll live with that, and then we'll put that in there, and we need two of those over that, like so. And I think it's too close to Stafford. Yeah, need to back it up a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit trickier than I thought. It's just we're on a bit of a hill, and I think what I'll do, we do have 300 million in the bank, so we can afford to do a little bit of terraforming. That smoothing brush really is expensive, but I just want to get this right from the very start. I don't want to be any messing around with this. So we've got our down slope here, and then the up slope starts to bend out like so. I mean, we only have to achieve 125 miles per hour. I'm pretty sure this curve that I'm putting in does get about that speed. Just going to have to push it back a little bit further. It's the only problem with having everything out of scale when you're trying to build real junctions. It can be quite tricky. Yeah, not going to worry about that. So I'm going to curve out. Maybe. What are you doing? That's madness. Right. Level you off. Bring this out on the flat. Why? Right, okay. We'll start from that direction, put our little stub in, and then start to curve this out. Why I don't know why that is so slow. We want to be at least 110. 110, can we do that? I mean, I'm pretty sure this this junction is 125 miles per hour, because that's the whole point of it. And then it needs to curve back in before we get to Stafford, hopefully. Yeah, but we're going to have to live with 110, I think, for this. And then curves back in like so. That doesn't look too bad. And if we join that back up, just taking a quick look at the diagram. Yeah, I think that's right. And then we'll put the up and down fasts alongside as well, so we've got those in place already, like that, and that gives us enough space to build a station. I don't really want to build a terminus, I'm trying to avoid that if I can, so I think if I put a little bit of track in and then a false station, trains can come back round to head back in the right direction again. So that isn't actually too bad. We'll use this really expensive smoothing tool again. Smoothing, levelling tool. Oh dear. Yeah, that is quite expensive. Right, chuck that in there. A little bit of smoothing. And then just take a look. Try and get this in. Why are you looking so ugly? Track. That's a bit too high. I want to try and get it a bit. We want it as low as we can physically get away with, without you trying to join. So something like that in the concrete variety, and then over there like that. And this is going to be tricky. Getting this down. Oh no, hold on. No, it's not too bad actually. So if we bring it from there and then just whack it straight up to that. Too much slope. Right. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit tricky because it's got that. It just wants to, try and snap all the time. Right. So if you bring that to about there, take a look at that, and then we are just going to end up, there's going to be too much slope. I really don't want I want a nice kind of junction coming out of there, but I don't think it's going to let me do it. Let's try anyway. Can we? No, you're gonna? No. That, too much slope. Come on. Construction not possible. Right. Try that. To there, that's alright. And we want land. Bring that down with it. And then, if we can just delete... no, we can't delete that. Because we're going to have a weird little... I think we're just going to have to put in one of them junctions like that, which 75. This is the up down slow after all, so I think I'm going to live with 75. It's not ideal, but I think we'll live with it. What are you doing? You're doing something mad, which is not what we want. So bring all that back. And then get that into... chuck all that back then, and try that again. Put that into there. And then this track here wants to meet it at something a bit more sensible than 80. Again, this is one of the, what's this, the up slow, so it's not the end of the world, but I just want the junction to look a little less hideous than that. Yeah, I'm not overly keen on this. Right, so put that in there. It still wants to join up, doesn't it? And then if we put the junction in, put the junction in first, and then join that back up. Maybe have to push this back a little bit, like so. What's that doing? 180. Oh no. Right. Maybe a little bit further back. I don't want to go too far back because then we're encroaching onto the area where I want to build Stafford Station. So drop that down. Try and bring it in. Oh, till it snaps. Like so. Have a nice close up look at that junction. Looks alright, and then see what this says. 90, 101. No, not happy with that at all. Right, bring this around 110, down a little bit, and then chuck that in there. 92. No, not quick enough. Right. Oh, that's better. Let's just take a look at the speed, track speed. 114, 100. Sometimes it does lie to you when you're building the track, and you look at the final speed, and it's nowhere near what it was supposed to be. And then chuck that in there, and that over to there like that. Do a bit of smoothing while we're here. Make that look a little bit nicer, and then flattening. Don't really like doing too much, but I just want to give this junction a fighting chance of being right first time. So bring that down to about there at 110 preferably. We'll have it on land and then just straight and flat. Like so. So this is going off towards Stoke, which is great. And then from here we'll have a junction coming off at a reasonable speed. I'll have to push this back a little bit further. Reasonable speed. Come on. Is there... Oh. I bet you were all shouting at the screen, if you hold shift it doesn't snap. I've only just figured that out. Right, okay, so if you hold shift it doesn't snap. And we get a nice 106 miles per hour, which is okay. I think we'll have to slow down to 100. coming into here, and then that's gonna 80 like so, and then need a little bit more flat junction there, like so, and then we want to switch in here. 50, no, that's not fast enough. Flat, flat, flat. And then where are we back here? Where's that switch motor? There it is. 1890. That's reasonable, I think, for a switch. Let's just take a look at it on the close up. All looks fine. Let's take a look at this. Just as it starts to head off, it starts to, the elevation changes. There's no ballast over the top of any of the tracks. Don't mind the ballast being over the top of the sleepers, but I think, yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. And then we need another switch here. Oh, we can do a 100 miles per hour switch. Let's take a look at that. Nice. Yeah, so we've done it. It's not too bad, I don't think, considering the scale is off. I think I am going to live with that. And then obviously we've got to just spend a heck of a lot of money on doing some smoothing, like so. And then just take a look. Right, this is going to come into Stafford Station a lot sooner than it ordinarily would. It runs for a few miles before it gets to Stafford. But we are going to have to build a station about here in order for it to be a proper station thing. So I think it's going to be just 240 meters long. It's going to have, don't really care about the building. 4 tracks, and it wants to be blue. Yeah, I'll just keep it blue. Keep it simple. And then we will have it relatively close to Stafford. Stafford's going to have to be bulldozed. But I don't think it'll mind too much because it is getting a good rail service. So chuck that in there like that. Get the tracks in. They're all reasonable. The only, I suppose, difficulty of this is because, actually, no, yeah. All of the services, which kind of, all of the West Coast services that we're going to operate have to stop at Stafford. They wouldn't normally, a lot of them do bypass Stafford. I think it's probably got, about 2 Avanti West Coast services an hour. Why is that a square? Yeah, I think about 2 of the Avanti West Coast services per hour stop at Stafford, but in this instance all the services, because Stafford is the last station on the southbound exit, or well, the southbound bit of the map, most southern bit of the map. Yeah, that's a bit ugly, but it's livable. If we do a bit of painting, still no concrete, so I'm using asphalt. And then just do a little bit to about there, and that's all kind of asphalty anyway, to about there. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that actually. Let's just take one last look at the speeds. So these are the up-down fasts of the West Coast, the core West Coast main line coming from Crewe. Do slow down to about 112, 105 there, and 101. But we're coming towards Stafford anyway, so we will start to be slowing down. So let's just check. Yeah, we will live with that, I think. And obviously that needs to go off towards Stoke, and we can finally start getting in some West Coast services. What time are we looking on? Now this is going to be the interesting bit because of the way the services operate. Crew is going to have to be completely remodelled in order for it to operate accurately with, say, the London North Western Railway services are classed as slow, so they'll be on the up-down slows. So the services, say Liverpool to Birmingham New Street, will be a London North Western Railway service operating on the slow. So that needs to be on the slow lines, on the up-down slows, but the Avanti West Coast from Liverpool to London Euston needs to be on the up-down fasts. So it's going to be interesting getting the junctions all working correctly, but what it does mean is I can finally get in some proper services, so I can put in the Liverpool to, well, I can put in the Avanti, and actually do I want them doing both? That is the question. I was alluded to this a little bit in the last episode about not duplicating services. I'm not sure because the Avanti West Coast I think might stop at Crewe, and the London North Western Railway Services obviously stops at Crewe and Runcorn as well. So if we put both of them on, which we're just duplicating services, which is not really ideal, to be honest. So I might just go for like the Avanti West Coast service from Liverpool. What would be the Avanti West Coast service from Liverpool to London Euston, if it does indeed stop at Crewe. If it doesn't, then I might put both the services on, but I will just double check anyway, because I know the Liverpool service is a bit of a weird one, because the stopping pattern it's got is a bit sporadic. I think different services stop at different stops during the day and not at other parts of the day. It's really weird, so I need to have a good look at that before I make any final decisions, because I don't really want, you don't want to be duplicating services because they won't get used properly and they'll just make loss making. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I do, because we are playing this game without any money cheats or without unlimited money on, it does need to make money in order to survive. Just painting a little bit of gravel, painting over the grass which grows through the track as well, which annoys me. And got an auto save, but it's letting me paint. Oh no, it's not. No, I thought you could paint while it was auto-saving. I didn't think it could, but there had been an update, so yeah, still using the asphalt because there's no concrete, but just put a little bit of paint on there, make it look a bit more interesting. I'm not sure interesting is the right word, but it doesn't look right with grass, let's just put it that way, especially on areas like this, excuse me, which would have some sort of retaining wall rather than just having a grass bank right up to the edge. Just put some of the grass back in like so. Oh, maybe if we put the right colour grass in, that might help. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, just want it. There we are. Maybe just like that. Oh, hold on. Where's the gravel brush? Yeah, just have a bit of gravel here on these where the turnouts are. Bit of gravel. like so. So I'm pretty pleased with that actually. That's not too bad. I'm going to put a little bit. I'm going to demolish lots of Stafford, put it in a little curve off to the east, fake station, and then trains can come back on the right track and head off in the right sort of direction. I've got a lot of work to do, I think, around crew before I can put any Liverpool crew Stafford services in, but I think we are getting there. So yeah, there is the Norton Bridge flyover, and there's Stafford off in the distance. I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm going to say until next time, bye bye.